In our political panel for a closer look at the situation. Tim Lim is a Democratic strategist. Ashley Pratte Oates is with Republican Women for Progress, and Sara Azari is a white-collar criminal defense attorney. Thank you all so much for being with us. And Tim, we'll go ahead and start with you here. You know, we mentioned Mark Meadows, who was supposed to show up on the panel Friday but didn't. Do you think these new contempt charges against Bannon have him rethinking his strategy?
Well, I would hope so. I mean, with the news that this indictment has come through, it shows that congressional Democrats, as well as the Justice Department, are serious about enforcing these subpoenas. Unfortunately, I think that you're going to see a lot of the Trump acolytes fighting this out in the courts, trying to run out the clock as much as possible.
Actually, in the meantime, you have Michael Flynn, who tells Tucker Carlson that he would respond to the demands of the Select Committee, but it's not exactly clear what he meant. Do you expect to see more witnesses taking the process a little bit more seriously?
I would hope so, and I would hope that's what Bannon's indictment means. However, Republicans love to say that they're for transparency, accountability, and rule of law. However, they're showing here that they're taking zero accountability for their party's role in some of these bad actors, and I would say criminal wrongdoers, for the violent insurrection that happened on January 6th. They just like to sweep this under the rug, continue to peddle the false narrative that the former president has been peddling on his, road to 2024 campaign trail, and it's dangerous. So I would hope that Bannon's indictment does cause some of these Republicans to rethink their whether or not they're above the law, which is quite frankly what they think. And that's extremely dangerous for the future of our democracy if this is what they'll continue to do. So hopefully they won't continue to obstruct this congressional committee's efforts. But then again, we've seen so much more from them, and it's really just disheartening that, this has become such a political issue when this is Congress's job to be able to get to the bottom of what happened that day. And the truth is pretty clear, except the Republicans refuse to see the truth for what it is.
Well, Sara, I want to kind of go off of what Ashley was just talking about here and play a clip from yesterday. We had MSNBC legal analyst Stanley Savalas on to talk about really what all of this means for the future and if it could be setting a precedent. Let's listen.
The reason this is so rarely prosecuted is that by definition, Section 192 is a political prosecution. And by that, I mean it is unique in that Congress decides to prosecute, a committee decides to prosecute, and then the U.S. attorney must bring the prosecution. So if we as a society are comfortable with going after someone like Bannon, we have to be prepared for when the other party gets in power. Will they use this same criminal statute now that the floodgates are open?
Sara, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, Lindsey, the floodgates are open, and let's not forget that the DOJ has not charged anyone with congressional contempt in 38 years. The last time was in 1983. But this is very significant, the indictment against Bannon, because it sends a couple of messages. Number one, that this DOJ, at least as to the issue of an insurrection of our government, is not playing. This is hopefully not a one-off. It's going to be a first of many indictments against those who defy congressional subpoenas. And then the larger and broader message is that this is no longer the Trump DOJ that is a weaponized political tool to shield the president and his allies against criminal exposure. This is now the DOJ back to its normal business, enforcing the rule of law, where no man is above the law, not including and that includes the president. So, we're dealing with a very different DOJ. We're dealing with Attorney General Merrick Garland keeping his promise that he made, that he is going to uphold the rule of law. And so this case is very significant because although it's unprecedented that we've had an insurrection and then have had to deal with defiance of congressional subpoenas, it is going to set precedent going forward.